If you take a back road through rural Indiana, about an hour from the Ohio River, you'll find yourself in a place most maps don't even bother to name anymore: Willow Creek. Today it's little more than a crossroads, an old rusted mailbox here, a collapsing barn there. But for folks who've lived in the county long enough, the name carries weight. They'll lower their voices when you bring it up, because Willow Creek was home to one of the state's most enduring and unsettling legends, the story of Eleanor Harrow and the axe murders that shook the town in the late 1800s. Back then, Willow Creek wasn't much bigger than it is now. A post office, a mill, a one-room schoolhouse, and a scattering of farmsteads across the rolling fields. The Harrow family lived on a patch of land at the edge of a wooded hollow. It wasn't the richest farm, but it was sturdy, with apple trees along the fence and a wide porch that looked out on the dusty road. The patriarch, Thomas Harrow, was known to be a stern man, strict with his children, especially with his only daughter, Eleanor. Neighbors said she was quiet, strange even, always lingering in the shadows with her thoughts. Her stepmother, Margaret, had arrived just a few years before tragedy struck. Folks in Willow Creek never quite took to her, and she never quite took to them. Margaret was younger than Thomas, with a sharp tongue and a sharp eye, and Eleanor often found herself at odds with her. Rumors spread quickly, shouting matches overheard on summer evenings, or long silences at church when the Harrows sat in their pew. Then came the day the town never forgot. It was late August, and the air was so thick with heat it seemed to hum. The miller's boy was the first to notice something was wrong at the Harrow farm. He passed by with his wagon and saw the front door standing open, curtains fluttering though no breeze stirred the air. Hours later, when the sheriff finally entered, the sight inside froze him in place. Thomas Harrow lay in the parlor, his head struck with such force that even the walls bore the marks. Margaret was found upstairs in the guest room, similarly slain. The weapon? An axe, still sticky with blood, left leaning against the hearth. And Eleanor? She was in the kitchen, sitting calmly at the table, her white dress speckled with red. When asked what had happened, she answered simply, "I don't know. I didn't do it." Her words spread like wildfire, and the town quickly divided. Some swore she was guilty, that the quiet, watchful girl had finally snapped under years of cruelty and confinement. Others whispered that no woman, let alone someone like Eleanor, could commit such an act. The trial that followed drew crowds from neighboring counties, curious to see the so-called Willow Creek murderess. But in the end, the jury couldn't agree. The evidence was circumstantial. Eleanor had no motive anyone could prove, and there were no witnesses. She was released, her name blackened but her sentence unserved. That's where the story should have ended. But it didn't. After the trial, Eleanor returned to the Harrow farmhouse, though many expected she'd never dare. Alone in that hollow, she lived out her days in silence. The fields went untended. The apple trees withered. Visitors said the house grew darker each year, the windows smeared with grime, the shutters banging loose in the wind. Children dared each other to run up and touch the porch steps, though few made it past the gate. And then came the stories. Neighbors swore that on still nights, they could hear the steady thud of an axe echoing through the hollow, though no one dared go near. Travelers passing on the road spoke of seeing a pale figure standing at the upstairs window, staring down at them with unblinking eyes. The mail carrier once claimed he delivered a letter only to find the house empty, its doors locked tight, though he could swear he'd just seen a woman moving inside. Eleanor herself was rarely seen after that. A farmer's wife spotted her once at the general store, gaunt and gray, her eyes so hollow she seemed half a ghost already. Then she vanished altogether. When, years later, someone finally worked up the courage to enter the Harrow place, they found the house abandoned, the furniture covered in dust, dishes left mid-meal as if time itself had stopped. No sign of Eleanor's body was ever found. Today, the Harrow farm is nothing but ruins, stones swallowed by vines, timbers rotting into the ground. But the legend lingers. Hunters say they've stumbled on the hollow and felt the air go ice cold, their rifles suddenly heavy in their hands. Paranormal investigators have tried to track the site, recording whispers on static-filled recorders. "I didn't do it." And some say, if you dare to wander the hollow at night, you'll see her, Eleanor Harrow, standing silently in her blood-speckled dress, waiting for someone to believe her. Was Eleanor guilty? Or was she the victim of some darker presence in that house, something that drove her family to ruin? No one knows. But in Willow Creek, Indiana, the tale endures, passed from one generation to the next. They call it the haunting of the Harrow Hollow, and to this day, folks say the axe has never gone quiet.